Good morning, everyone, and welcome to your Miracle Mindset Monday for this week. So, remember, with our Miracle Mindset Monday, this is just a generalized energy forecast for the week. If you're interested in your own personalized Miracle Mindset Monday, then please feel free to visit my website, awakeningmiracles.org. And even if you're not interested in any of my services, feel free to go check out my website that has tons of free information like the intuitive tips, and it also has all of my vlogs and blogs with different information, all for free. Good morning, Shirley. Thanks for joining. Thanks for being here. So, with our Miracle Mindset Monday for this week, there was this really big message that came in a very small package. And the big message for this week is all about perseverance and diligence. It's all about us really doing our work and really staying persistent with it, because there are times, especially during times where we're unsure about things, when we're not seeing change, when we're not seeing transformation, when it seems like things just keep on falling down. We need to keep up with our spiritual work. We need to keep doing our internal stuff so that we can begin to see that change in the external. And good morning, Donna. Thanks for joining. Thanks for being here. And so that's our first message. Then our second message is all about doing it happily, doing it joyfully, doing it in a way that is a celebration, of life, a celebration of what we're doing, and doing it with that happiness, doing it with that joy. And the reason that I said this was a big message in a small package, good morning, April, good morning, Maggie, was all because it came in the way of a sparrow. And that's just what I saw in my meditation. It was just this sparrow. And sparrows are all about, being happy, being diligent, being productive. And so the best way to be happy, diligent, and productive is to do it, with a sense of persistence, a sense of like, I'm going to continue to do this and to really stick with it. I know for me that, when you first start doing your spiritual work, you are all about it. You are like, yes, let's do it. And then, other things start to come up, and then you start to forget, and then one day you forget, and then the next day you forget, and then the next day you forget, and then you're just back onto your old pattern. We have to really be willing to stick with it. Even if we forget one day, even if we forget to do a mantra, every hour or whatever the case is, we go back and we start again. Right back from that beginning. Not with a sense of, oh, God, I have to start over again. But from a sense of, all right, I get to start again. So that is just the overall message for this week. Now let's go ahead and let's go to first the Mystical Wisdom deck, and let's see what beautiful guidance we have for this week. And interestingly enough, I was not guided to either of the affirmational decks for this week. This week is all just, we're going first to the Mystical Wisdom, then to the Nature's Whisper, and then to the Answer is Simple. So there's no affirmation for this week. Didn't feel that guidance for it. Okay. All right, so let's see what beautiful energies we are working with this week. Excuse me. Oh, wow. Okay. So we have some beautiful energies we're working with. So our first one, which I think is absolutely beautiful, Maggie, I 100% agree with you. I love The Answer is Simple by Sonia Choquette. It was one of my very first decks and is still one of my favorites. Good morning, Samantha. Thanks for joining. Thanks for being here. So, our first card is a direct reflection of our first message, and it is enlightenment, and it is pursue spiritual growth. And so this card is really an invitation to continue to do your spiritual work. Or if you don't have spiritual work, to start. And one of the best ways I can tell you to start that spiritual work is start with gratitude. And because gratitude is appreciation for what you love. Start there. Start, and what a better way than this month, here in the United States, gratitude. We're here in Thanksgiving, so that's a great way to start that. Another great way to start to pursue your spiritual growth is, there's so many different videos on YouTube. I have tons of different videos on YouTube as well as my website, really helping you to begin that spiritual journey. Good morning, Jamie. Good morning, Natalie. Thank you for joining. Thank you for being here. So that's our first card. Let's be persistent in pursuing our spiritual practice, in really getting clear on who and what we truly are. As we begin to do that, we begin to embrace the truth. We look past the illusion. There are a lot of illusions right now. We live in a world of illusions. We live in a dream world. And so what we have to begin to do as we pursue the spiritual, as we pursue, that inner truth, the truth begins to reveal itself. And then we get to see these beautiful epiphanies, these beautiful aha moments where we get to see, oh my God, the reason that I'm going through this pattern is, because I am because of this past thing that I've been carrying around with me. Wow, how crazy. I would have never thought of that. So really, these three cards are just so beautiful together because we start the spiritual growth to begin to see the truth so that we can have more clarity, because that's really what the Epiphany card is all about. It's about seeing things clearly. It's about gaining that clarity. And also, when it comes to the illusions, one thing that I really like to do that I've learned personally from A Course in Miracles is really if I see something that disturbs my peace, I like to ask, I want to see the truth instead of this, or I could see peace instead of this. And that's just something that I like to do to really help me to be willing to see that truth, to be willing to have that given to me. Now, our next card is the vacation card. Take time to relax, or take time for a relaxing adventure. So, how beautiful is that? And this is really saying it's time for you to kind of take a break from the mundane and, really start that inner adventure. Because as we start that spiritual growth, as we start to really do that, the most beautiful thing begins to happen. Life actually does become a lot easier. The reason that life becomes a lot easier and becomes a lot more relaxing is because you're not making all the decisions on your own. You're not reacting. Instead, you are responding. And that's what's really, really beautiful as you begin that spiritual journey. You really begin to learn how to respond instead of react. And I actually have a course that, could help you with that if you were interested in it. It's on my website. It's one of my $10 courses. It's the Higher Communication. And so that's just from the Mystical Wisdom deck. So we're pursuing our spiritual growth to see the truth, to gain clarity so that we can really begin to live life, through response, not reaction. So, and we have another card here that's just really, these two cards, really beautiful, and they go perfectly. It's, our first one, leadership. So, you get to take the lead. You get to decide what voice you're going to listen to. Are you going to listen to the voice of the Holy Spirit, or to God, to Jesus, to your angels, to your guides, to your inner being? Or are you going to listen to the voice of your ego, which is the representation of fear? Which one are you going to listen to? You get the choice to say who's going to lead your life. And once again, the spiritual journey helps you to do that. And this one, our next card, self-reliance. Once again, this isn't talking about self-reliance on the self that you made, meaning the ego. It's meaning that it's time to rely on your divine self, that purity that you are. That's what we're beginning to rely on. And like I said, I 100% know and understand that it's really scary to trust your intuition. I have been there. But once you begin to do it, life just becomes so much easier, so much happier. And synchronicities just fly up, because all a synchronicity is the universe telling you, keep going this way. Like, that's all a synchronicity is. Keep going this way. Here you go. It's like the little breadcrumbs. It's all it is. And so as we pursue that spiritual growth, that's really, where we're at. So now let's go to the Nature's Whisper deck, and let's see what other beautiful messages we have in conjunction with the with the Mystical Wisdom deck from the Nature's Whisper. Okay. Beautiful. All right, and we just need one more. Oh, goodness. Oh, beautiful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay. So our first card, absolutely love, and the first card is actually going to be our last card, but it is be true to your heart. That is our first one. Now, being true to your heart means, at least to me, that you are following what feels peaceful and compelling to you. A lot of people think that when people say listen to your heart or follow your heart, they're talking about following emotion. That's actually not what they're talking about at all. What they're talking about is following what feels peaceful and compelling, following love. That's really what this card is all about. It's following your happiness, following your joy, following that which feels peaceful and compelling in the moment. And, that's, I think, the best way that we can really break down that card, because our next one is love matters. So love is the only thing that really matters. And as we begin to pursue our spiritual growth, to begin to see the clarity, see the truth, and gain, some perspective, we have to be willing to let love be the guide, to let love lead the way. And that may sound like super abstract and like super, okay, let love lead the way. But love does lead the way. Love is the only thing that really does matter. And the way that we can follow love's guidance is through our own intuitive channels. And that's just the best way that we can do it, because love is going to be able to guide you in whatever works best for you. Just because, one person gets guidance from seeing visions doesn't mean that you're wrong for just getting feelings. Each person will be given what they need in a way that they understand, not a way that I understand. You may get a message that says one-eyed, one-horned, flying purple people eater, and I'm like, I don't know what that means. But for you, it's this beautiful, sign of being like, yeah, I'm on the right path. So allow yourself to be true to your heart and let love be your guide, so that you can really be your best self. Your best self. Good morning, Robin. Good morning, love. Good morning, Francis. Thanks for joining. Thanks for being here. Good morning, Catherine. Catherine, thanks for joining. Thanks for being here. So then we have being your best self. Your best self is the most loving self. Your best self is the self that is in tune with the truth of who you are, which is love. Like that's the best you that you could ever be, is that. So let's be that today. Let's be that this week. Let's be our best self. Let's put our best foot forward. I know a lot of us, maybe are having Thanksgiving at home, or maybe having it over Zoom, or maybe you are going to go visit people. I don't know. But what I do know is you can be your best self no matter what, no matter who is around you, no matter what is happening. You get the choice to be the best you. You get that choice. No one else gets to make that choice for you. I can totally understand where, there are certain people that just kind of trigger certain emotions in you. But guess what? You have a choice to either respond to those or react to them. And that is your choice and your choice alone. So now let's go to the Answer is Simple deck. And let's see what other beautiful guidance we have from the Answer is Simple. And actually, one, as I just kind of open the box here, one card that's really sticking out to me in my head is actually card number 1. And card number 1 is the card that basically says, get over yourself. And when I say get over yourself, it's about letting go of that ego aspect of you and saying, where am I not showing up authentically? Where am I trying to put on a mask? And where am I, instead of seeing a call for love, where am I seeing an attack? And what do I mean by that is, sometimes people call for love. Excuse me. Sometimes people call for love, and they may not know how to do it in a loving way or in a kind way. So maybe they are angry. Maybe they're mean. Maybe they're just like disrespectful, or whatever the case may be. And of course, it's not an invitation, nor is it a condonement of what they're doing. But we have to realize that really what they're calling for is love. And sometimes it's our call to answer it, and sometimes it's not. And once again, that goes back to being true to who you are, being true to your heart, and allowing love to guide you, allowing your intuition to guide you, because your intuition knows when it's your time to answer a call for love and when it's your time to kind of just step away from that. So the ego would say, oh, that person is a terrible, awful, this and that, and sees separation, sees fear, sees hatred, sees anger. It sees all of those things. Hey, Mary, I haven't seen you in a while. And all of those things. And while love sees, truth, it sees clarity, it sees all of those, beautiful things. So let's go ahead and let's see what other messages we have from this deck. All right, so let's see all the beautiful messages that we have here. Oh, beautiful. So our very first one, which I absolutely love, is open your heart. Now, opening your heart simply means being willing to see things differently, being willing to see the truth. And, as we are willing to see that truth, you saw those red butterflies. And those red butterflies represent, change and transformation. That's what they're representing. As you open your heart, as you let down those walls and begin to allow yourself to love again, not only love others, but also love yourself, you begin to see this beautiful transformation. And I think that's beautiful because it goes right back to our first message about enlightenment and pursuing spiritual growth. That's something spiritual growth does for you. Spiritual growth opens up your heart and allows you to see again. And sometimes all we have to do or one thing that we do have to do is, to talk to God or talk to our higher self, talk to our source, and that is just something that we have to begin to do, because opening your heart means that you're open, honest, and vulnerable with that divine source. As you become open, divine, and vulnerable with that divine source, you begin to dance with it. You begin to have, this beautiful dance with life. And, dancing with life doesn't mean life is stepping on your toes, because life knows the dance. You don't. And sometimes, that means we just have to kind of go with the flow and sometimes just accept the plan is unfolding. Even though we can't see it, even though we don't know it, the plan is unfolding, and just letting it do that. And sometimes we got to clear out the fog. And sometimes that clearing out the fog means detoxing from our own dramas, detoxing from our own judgments. That's a really big one. Detox from our own judgment. As we detox from our own judgment, that means we need to clean up our mess. And cleaning up our mess means maybe making apologies. Maybe, not only making apologies, but also making amendments. Not only to others, but to yourself. And realizing that you need to stop. Sometimes before we speak, we need to stop, and we just need to take that breath and allow love to answer. Because as we begin to do that, we need to realize that, it's not that big of a deal. Oftentimes we tend to explode and we tend to go off the handle on tiny little things, because to us it's like, oh my God, this is such a crazy emergency. And it's not really a crazy emergency. It's not something, crazy. It's simply the ego's way of trying to be like, pay attention, be in fear. It's okay if we go into fear. It's just we don't want to keep those fearful thoughts, which is oftentimes what we do. So we really want to begin to change the scenery of our minds. That's the best way that you can do. Now, sometimes, changing the scenery in general is, something that you want to do. And I understand, with a lot of things going back down into lockdown, that can seem hard. If you have a phone, look at a different scenery, dream, imagine what it would be like to be in that different scene. And, what kind of person you would be while you were there. And then be that person in this now moment. That's all that it takes. Changing the scenery doesn't always mean changing the physical surroundings. It can mean changing the mental landscape. If you're worried about this and you're in fear about that, like I said, it's okay to be worried. It's okay to be in fear, but don't keep those thoughts. Be willing to, like our very first card was, our second card was, be willing to talk to God, be willing to talk to your divine source, talk to love, talk to your angels, talk to your guides, and, be willing to give them those thoughts and those feelings and be like, I don't want to keep this. I have no value for it. And that's something else that we really have to discover and realize is the reason that fear and worry oftentimes stay in our minds is because we believe that if we keep that worrisome thought, if we keep that fearful thought, then somehow we are negating it from happening. But actually, what happens is the more we hold on to that worrisome thought, the more we hold on to that fearful thought, the more that we are creating it into, the reality. Talk to guides every day and night. That is absolutely beautiful, Robin. And I think that's something we all should do more and more often is talk to our guides, talk to our angels, talk to God, talk to the Holy Spirit, talk to Jesus, talk to whatever you consider your higher power. And it's not that it's not listening to you, because it is. And it's answering you. But a good majority of the time, which I'm actually going to be talking about in my Course in Miracles lesson today with my ACIM support group, is it's not that love's not answering you. Love is answering you. However, what is happening is that we want to listen to one particular answer, and when we're not getting that one particular answer, we tend not to hear what's being said because we want to hear our particular answer. Love is always answering. Love is always there. It's just we have to begin to really, really listen. So that is that is this week's Miracle Mindset Monday. I thank you so much for joining me. I thank you for being here. And I will see you all throughout the week with all of my daily posts and my different videos that I will be putting up. And remember, if you just want some guidance, if you just want some, feel good things, you can always go over to my website, awakeningmiracles.org, and you can look at my intuitive tips. You can look at all of my blogs. And if you want, you can look at my different services and different $10 courses that I offer. And those $10 courses are all pre-recorded. All I do is I send you the links, and then you get to take your time with the videos. So thank you all for joining. Thank you all for being here. And thank you all for persisting in your own pursuit of your truth and who you are. For those of you that follow me on my ACIM support group, I will be there momentarily.